What is up, Cubes fam? Cube Xeno back with you. And welcome back to another rambling of the podcast. With another video this time, if as long as I chose to keep it in. Let me know how you guys like these ones, by the way. Anyway, so today I wanted to talk about something. I thought about saving this for an episode. And I may talk about it in episode 2, but I figured I could talk about it here as well. It's a conversation I would much rather have somebody else here to have with me, but it is what it is. And that conversation, or topic of discussion, whatever, is emulators. Recently, I've been really getting into emulators. As you guys know, I have an emulator that allows me to play GameCube games, so I can play Ocarina of Time. And also I have Game Boy one for things like Super Mario World, because I prefer the Game Boy version. However, I have been discovering that there are other emulators I've wanted to try out. So much so that I ended up having to move all my emulator stuff that I was downloading onto an external hard drive. But I started to get to thinking, and this is also partially me extending an olive branch out to you guys to see if you guys have any ideas on things I can do about particular things. But I have noticed that there are games for some emulators. Like I found one for Xbox 360, and it got me thinking, because I found a copy of it, the ROM, Skylanders. And then I realized, how do you play an emulated game like that? Like, is there extra software you need? Because I know with the Skylander portal, it's not a huge deal because it's a USB connection. But I was thinking about amiibos and other stuff as well. Although I don't know that there's a Wii U emulator out yet. I really don't know. I have noticed that emulators don't tend toward later PlayStation games. I mean, I know that there's a whole mess of stuff surrounding it, but it just got me thinking to the specialized gear. And I've also had this issue as well, because I've been trying to figure out how to map a Wii remote for Dolphin, because it's capable of playing Wii games. And I'm just not sure how to do it. So that's the thing. But I was curious if anybody else out there had any sort of solutions for things like that, experiences with things like that. My experience playing the emulators overall has been good so far. I definitely haven't gotten to use them half as much as I would like to. I've definitely realized how big some games can be, especially for things like Xbox 360, because the zip files that I've been downloading for those ROMs are multiple gigabytes, which wasn't something that I was expecting. Like a gig or two, yeah, but I didn't expect the zip files to be like 7 gigs, which just goes to show how big those games are. Which is actually, to a little extent, kind of sad, because then I, go and download a game on Steam or whatever that's just as much, if not more, content, and it's smaller. It's kind of sad when you realize the difference. I know it's a whole bunch of things like compression ratios and stuff on the data. But yeah, there are big, especially the 360 games. The Game Boy games, I've noticed, not very big. But that was a simpler time. I mean, I think those cartridges had a maximum storage capacity of like 3/4 of a gig or something. I know it wasn't big. I mean, I'm surprised that the GameCube game stuff takes up so much room on the emulator when the memory cards of the GameCube were like, you had to go out of your way to get a 16 megabyte memory card. Like, you know, it's interesting. Yeah, my experience with them has been good overall. I've gotten to at least download some of, you know, for the most part I haven't played games I haven't gotten to play yet because I like never owned them, I could never find them. Unfortunately, there's a few experiences I've had that kind of went to crap because I downloaded the ROM and there were breaking bugs to it. Like, I know I downloaded the ROM for Classic Metroid ported to the Game Boy, even though I actually have that cartridge, but at the time I couldn't find my bag with my Game Boy stuff in it. And it just, when you open it on Visual Boy, it says there's like a bad battery pack or something, and it just, I haven't figured out how to make it load anyway. So that's kind of annoying. But yeah, and I also want to, I wanted to do a thing before I downloaded the game. I ended up downloading the game, and I will Let's Play it at some point. There's a Pokemon game. So eventually I want to play through the Pokemon games, or at least the old ones. I've heard so many mixed reviews. I don't really know if I want Scarlet and Violet, and if I do get them, that'll be a long time down the line when they're not super expensive. But a game that I kind of saw little bits about other people playing that I want to play now that I have a little experience. I've played Pixelmon, and well, like now I've played Pokemon Go and stuff too, but Pixelmon was like my initial introduction into the world of Pokemon. And Pokemon Uranium is the bit where I'm getting to. I wanted to see if I could like put it on a Raspberry Pi and like play it on some sort of hardware emulated video Game Boy game. Almost a video game. I just don't know how doable that is, and I don't really have the means to do that right now. So I'm just gonna break down and play it on the computer. It's an interesting concept. I definitely want to try to discover more fan games, and more like not quite licensed, but like there's some cool stuff out there. Like, I don't know how licensed it is, but one thing that I might even go as far as to do a Let's Play on it. I'm not sure yet. But one thing I used to play back in the day, and I actually found that there's a place that has downloads of it, is the Motunui Online Game, for those of you who are really OG fans of the Lego franchise Bionicle. I'm not sure how licensed that game was in retrospect, but I'd love to find like old games like that. And I'm really frustrated that now that Flash is gone, Flash games have just disappeared. Like, I haven't allowed Adobe Flash to uninstall from my hard drive, so it's like I could run it, but a lot of places have taken down their Flash games entirely, which I think is a damn shame. Something that has disappeared entirely, except for now for purchase, which I'm not sure how I feel about, on the Steam store, I don't even think it's the first one, but The World's Hardest Game, for those of you who remember that one. I think I still have it on as an app on one of my old iPads. Actually, it might be the one that can screen record, so I might be able to do something with that. But I've all but lost the ability to find a place that plays that. There's still quite a few that are around, but one that I really wanted to show off, just as a sort of little one-off video. I did a video on it a long time ago on Chaotic Cubes, and I don't have the video that I did on it anymore. It's called Mike Shadow's I Paid For It. And it was a nice little punch 'em up upgrade grind. Like, you know, it's one of those games where basically the concept of the game was you were attacking a vending machine, and the more money that you got from the damage you dealt, the more upgrades you could do, till eventually, like, I had him have this, like, nuclear bazooka and, like, a Kamehameha and stuff like that. I played the shit out of that game in high school. Because of the many places that my high school had band that were, I probably even played it in middle school. I'm not sure when it came out, for like playing online games and stuff, because, you know, for those of you not in the US might not know this, because I don't know, you know, if this is even a whole nation thing, let alone a worldwide thing, but they tended to try to block, I don't know if it was like an IP block or address block or whatever, stuff on the computers so that kids weren't playing games during class. Well, I tended to be somebody who finished my classwork early. And once we were done with our classwork, you know, most of the time people didn't care. But I would tend to get in trouble, quote unquote, quite a bit, because I would finish early and then I'd start playing a flash game or whatever. But anyway, one of the few sites they didn't get, of the ones that existed at the time, I remember 2 or 3 of them, was a website that I've been using since elementary school, I think. I don't honestly know when it came out, but I feel like I used it throughout my school-time career, which is called onemorelevel.com. It still exists. Most of the flash games on it are by Armor Games, at least the ones that I've experienced. The vast majority of them are Armor Games flash games. I know a few of them have moved on to be apps, like Sushi Cat, World's Hardest Game at one point. I think World's Hardest Game was by Armor Games. What was that one? Doodle God, I think it was. No. Doodle God is a thing, but it's not. I don't think it's an Armor Games thing. Wow, I almost remembered. There was one. Now I don't remember the name of it. It had Doodle in the name. That was basically, it was kind of like Oregon Trail meets Trials. That is a really weird sort of thing, but basically you were like a little stick man on a little stick bike, and you like made your own courses. I'm not doing a good job at explaining this at all. This is very strange sounding, but it was really good. A lot of people played it. But among the things that I would play on One More Level, that were all there back then, was the World's Hardest Game. That's where I started playing the World's Hardest Game. That's actually how I discovered Falling Sand. And I know Falling Sand has its own independent website, but that's where I discovered it. Because a lot of those games were like hosted other places. I found out that quite a few of them were hosted on coolmathgames.com, and then they were just embedded on one more level. Infectinator, I know that is probably one that's giving some people nostalgia, if anybody my age is listening to this. That's where I discovered this 3D Logic, which is one I still enjoy. I believe I found it as an app now. And it basically, it's just like those games where you connect the pipes or whatever, but it's a big Rubik's Cube, basically. I'm going to turn that off now, because I don't need that right now. But yeah, anyway, so emulators. Back in the day, I wasn't sure how I felt about them, because like back when they were much younger in existence, probably brand new for some of them, I was watching somebody at high school play either Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask on the computer, and it fascinated me, but I was also like, I don't know how I feel about that, like, because at that time the GameCube was out and Zelda's Collector's Edition had been like pushing back, you know, updating Majora and Ocarina of Time because everybody loved him so much. So it was keeping the Zelda franchise relevant in the midst of a lot of people who didn't like Wind Waker. Personally, I loved Wind Waker, but I know a lot of people didn't like it and wanted the feel of Ocarina of Time back, or Majora's Mask, both of which are probably my favorite Zelda games. Like, to this day, Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess, and I'm starting to feel maybe a little bit like Breath of the Wild, are among the top of my favorites in the Zelda franchise. And granted, I haven't gotten to play through the whole Zelda franchise yet. Look forward to seeing that at some point on the channel, because I am going to do that. In fact, I think I'm going to start recording that. I know that Ocarina of Time has gone up to streams, a couple of the episodes, and maybe that might be the best way for it to continue because of its nature. But I think I'm going to start playing them and backlog them, because I've got quite a few to play through. I've got so I finished my private run of Link's Awakening, so I can start on Link's Awakening. I've got I'm going to try to play through the classic Link's Awakening as well, so I've got that. But I've also got Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons, Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks. I don't even know how I'm going to play the DS games. I found a DS emulator. I'm not sure how well it's going to work. So there's those. Four Sword Adventures. Obviously the original NES ones, which were kind of broken when I loaded them up on my emulator. So I may be relegated to playing them on the Switch. I prefer doing the emulator ones where and when I can, because for one, I don't own every game, but also it's easier to record them, and I don't have to monopolize the TV so that I can use my HDMI PVR. So there is that. What all else do I have? Minish Cap. A Link Between Worlds. I don't know if the DS emulator I have will be able to replicate the 3DS. I may have to find myself a 3DS so that I can play A Link Between Worlds. Because the DS I have is a normal DS. It's not even a DSi. Link to the Past. Now, a couple of them I have played before. I have played A Link to the Past a little bit before. I haven't finished it by any means, but I have played the demo of A Link Between Worlds, stuff like that. They are definitely convenient for things like recording, especially when there's times when I'm not at home and I want to record, and I might drag my Switch with me somewhere every once in a while. I don't usually, but I oftentimes, if I'm going on a trip, will bring my computer with me. And that simplifies the matter a ton, because then I can just pop it open and play some Wind Waker or something, and it's a great de-stressor for me. Like, it's a huge nostalgia thing. It's part of my childhood. The first couple dungeons worth of, dungeons sort of too, but the first few islands worth of Wind Waker is very nostalgic for me, especially Forest Haven, because whenever I first started playing, before I made my own save file, my stepdad got stuck. He was playing it because we had just gotten the GameCube, and Wind Waker was one of the games we bought. He got stuck when he got to Forest Haven because he didn't know anything about Zelda, really, and so he didn't know that the little flower pods would spit you up and let you, do stuff. So, that was really my first exposure to Wind Waker, because at the time, my sister was playing through it, and then one of my step-siblings was playing through it, and my dad was playing through it, and just, you can only have 3 files at a time, and we only started with one memory card. Eventually, I actually ended up getting my own memory card shortly thereafter. My aunt got me a 4-pack of Mad Catz memory cards, so I had memory cards to spare after that. But in the meantime, my first real experience was helping him get the Deku Leaf. And by helping him, what I actually mean is my sister and I sat down, loaded up his file, and got the Deku Leaf for him, without his permission. So, and then I think shortly thereafter, he kind of just got bored with it, because, he's much older. It was a novelty to him for a little bit, because I'm sure he probably played one of the older games when he was younger. But, yeah. But yeah, so sometimes I might just load up Wind Waker on my laptop just to chill out. That's a reason why I have a lot of different things that I have my own file for. From everything from I load up my own private file on Zelda when I just want to play, to I even make my own Minecraft worlds a lot of the time in packs that I don't record on, just to have something to do in case I want to play, but I don't want to record. Just sort of that sort of thing. I've been having a lot of issues lately about like not knowing what to talk about and stuff, and I've been wanting to do a bunch of Minecraft, but I don't want to do a bunch of Minecraft with no commentary, because Minecraft with no commentary is boring to me. Like, a little bit of it is fine, but if there's no interaction, or at least like discussion going on, I'm just not a big fan of it, personally. That's just me, that's a personal thing. But yeah. Trying to stay on top of with the emulators, though. I've seen some people put like Raspberry Pis and stuff in things, and I don't know if that counts on the side of emulators, because then they'll just download stuff to the Raspberry Pi and just like grab grafted onto something. Like, I know that a lot of people did that to pirate games for the PlayStation 2 and stuff. But there's, like, the idea I had was, like, gutting a console and then, or a cartridge to a console and then running it up so that it could play this thing or whatever and look authentic. That's a lot more work than it is really worth unless you have the means, and I don't right now. Out of everybody's way here. But yeah. But do feel free to let me know your guys' opinions, what your favorite emulators are. For those of you who are wondering what emulators I use, currently, the only ones I'm actively using are Visual Boy for Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance, and Dolphin, which does Wii and GameCube games. There's a couple others I have. Xemu is the one I have for the Xbox One, which is XEMU. The one I have that's for DS's is called Melon DS. I haven't actually test run them yet. I think I installed a Super Nintendo one, but I don't remember what it's called. I think Duck Station is the PlayStation 1 version that I found. It might do 1 and 2, I'm not sure. I have a good place that I've been using. Their download bandwidth is really low, for obvious reasons. A lot of sites that do ROMs for that, you know, and all those sorts of things tend to not be money makers. So if y'all are interested in that, I'll link it down in the description below. It's called Vim's Layer, VIMM. Yeah, I'll link it. And they've got quite a bit on that. A lot of old classics that I have really been looking forward to touching again. Things like Rogue Squadron, Shadow the Hedgehog game, Metroid Prime. Yeah. Well, I know there's a lot of background noise. The lovely sound of Jake Brakes, everybody. That loud you're hearing is my air compressor brakes. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed my content. If you do, make sure to slap that like button. Lets me know that you did. Please, 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 if you've got feedback, leave it in the comments section. I love getting feedback. I never feel like I have enough of it. Try to be positive. Try not to be totally negative. I will remove comments like, fuck you, you should go die in a hole. Believe it or not, I've gotten comments like that before. But yeah, no, constructive or informative comments, always welcome. Don't post random links. As I've announced previously, I will be removing on-site random links with no explanation. Compressed links especially. So if you have a particular thing and you want to say, oh hey, this is la-da-da-dee-da, and here's a link to it, I might let it slide, but yeah. Anyway, don't forget to support the channel and everything I do over on Patreon, patreon.com/CubeXenoLP. There will be content up there soon, hopefully. I've got a new setup thing that I'm going to try going on at home. force some stuff that's going to go up there. We'll see if that actually happens. I'm going to try. But yeah, I will catch you guys later. Don't let's go and share them out. We'll see. Peace.